What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into my channel. It's been a while since I've done some Royale content, but I feel like with the recent changes I decided to do this video, and it has enough information for you guys to maybe, just maybe, want to either come back to the game or at least get interested into the changes that are happening until a point that you may return to the game, or you just continue to play because you may be playing still the game like I am. Unfortunately, I'm playing a little less. I'm not doing any more streams or even videos, but I'm still playing the game, and pretty soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe this next week, I will do some streams of Royale as well. Not videos though, because literally the game is still a little bit broken. There's too many changes, and as such, making a normal video of a game that hasn't been totally fixed, it's kind of weird. So what's going on with Royale right now is really simple. Apparently there's going to be a new patch coming next Thursday, or Tuesday night, this next Tuesday, on this next week, where they're pretty much bringing back the classes. Just like you saw in the thumbnail, just like you saw in the title, classes are coming back, but they're no longer locked classes. What I mean by this is that you are going to be able to play, for example, with a mage, but still be able to use any other ability belonging to other people. The only difference is that if you're using the corresponding abilities and weapons to your class, they will work a lot stronger. So imagine you're a warrior, right? You know that the axe belongs to the warrior. That means now that as long as you're playing the warrior, if you get the axes, they will deal 20% more damage. So if you're a mage and you get an axe, it will deal 20% less than the warrior. So that will be the ground damage. If you go with warrior, then you'll deal a little bit more damage. Then there's also, for example, some extra passive abilities like the shout, the healing shout, that now actually is what came to replace the potion, the healing potion. For example, it will give 50% more effectiveness. All right, I'm not entirely sure if it's only for him or for the rest of the team, but it usually should be for everybody. Including it has something which is increased healing taken by 25%, which I'm thinking that's for the replacement of the passive ability of healing to time, like 5 health per second. They probably took it away, and as such, if you use potions or even abilities, you'll receive 25% more. So healing with the warrior, it will be a lot easier. The heroic leap, for example, if you get it, it will always deal damage when on any rarity. So if you do have an heroic leap, and if you have a warrior on your team, probably you want to give that heroic leap to that guy, because he's probably going to be dealing a lot more, because he's going to be doing 600 damage on impact. It doesn't specify the rarity, and as such, that means that probably every single rarity will deal 600 damage on impact. So we're going to have the old heroic leap back. That's going to be awesome. Maximum health as well will be increased by 300. Now, these are only some of the class perks of the warrior. Okay, hold on, because there's more, but we don't know them all yet. We'll probably find out the rest of the classes in the future. Now, they also mentioned something about more weapons, including more weapons related to the classes. And as such, they mentioned a weapon who hasn't been in the game yet, hasn't been seen yet, but I'd mentioned it before on a video. It's the hammer. That's right. The hammer was supposed to be for the paladin class. Call it whatever you want. That's the skin that it's available right now on the store, the male skin, the guy with a shield on his back. That is the paladin. But now, since we're gonna only be working with 4 classes, they also mentioned that, which will be all the classes we have before except for the engineer. So mage, hunter, assassin, and warrior. No engineers, because the pip launchers will be available for everybody. You should also know that. That skin belonged to a class that it's not available in the game right now, so they decided to lock it to the warrior. So if you're playing warrior and you had that skin, you're probably going to be able to use that skin at playing as a warrior. So instead of being paladin, now that's a warrior. Just like the dark elf will be for the hunter, and very much probably the alchemist will be for the mage. I'm not entirely sure. We still have some skins for the assassin, which was the ones from the battle pass. They may add new skins in the future, but let's see. The rest of the skins for horses and chickens will still be completely random. Now, as I was talking about the hammer, that was supposed to be the weapon of the paladin. We saw that on a website that had some information about some things that were coming in the future, and as such, we found the hammer. The hammer apparently works like a boomerang and does come back. But they also mentioned that it doesn't require an aiming down sights, just like many weapons that they want to give some special abilities to. So what I'm thinking is they will probably put as the left click, you throw the hammer and it does kind of some sort of a boomerang with a limited range, and it goes to front and then comes back, you know, like in a straight line, which will look really cool, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure if you can hit two people at the same person 2 times, because if you go a little bit after or it stops on that enemy, it can then comes back. I do believe that the axes should be like that. You can only throw another axe after that first axe hits the ground or hits the enemy. But even so, that's another story for the future if they actually end up doing that. And his right click with the hammer should be something like the sword, for example. Or, as they mentioned, an example of Smite, where they could teleport with it. That'll be incredibly strong and it will be incredibly weird, because that means you're going to be having either unlimited teleportations with the hammer, or it's going to have a cooldown on its own. So, we have that. They also mentioned sword, axes, and hammers for warrior. I'm thinking they're going to be locking the swords for the warriors, apparently. Maybe they're going to be giving him the flame, you know, the shooting flames blades in the air like we have for Zen on paladins. And maybe that's why they're going to be locking it to the warrior. Not entirely sure if it's going to be locked there or not. But they also gave a couple of informations of probably some new weapons and even some weapons that are going to be changed in the future. First of all, I'm going to be talking about the assassin really quick, because it's the simplest one to talk right now. Which they mentioned that the weapons for the assassin will be the sniper rifle, as we have it. The poison pistol will be coming back. Really nice. They said that they gave it a lot of improvements, so it's going to be working a lot better and not as weak or slow as before. And they also mentioned the heirloom rifle. Now, I know what people are thinking. The heirloom rifle is bad for a legendary weapon to get for the assassin. But they also mentioned that they were only going to be using the models. So I'm not surprised to see the heirloom rifle coming back as a hunting rifle. For those who don't know what the hunting rifle is, it's pretty much a sniper rifle, but without a scope. It's just a normal aiming down sights kind of thing, like the assault rifle or so on, but it gives a single shot and probably does a little bit less damage. It may have more shots on it. Maybe it's like a semi-auto sniper. We're not entirely sure for now. So that's the assassin. Now let's talk about the hunter. The hunter apparently is going to have a new weapon who hasn't been seen in the game, but I don't know how it's going to work either. They didn't show any models or anything. They mentioned that the weapons for the hunter will be the longbow, the crossbow, and the short bow. Now, I don't know what the short bow is, because definitely there's no more bows and paladins, at least that I remember right now. But it looks like to be some sort of a weapon, almost like the Khan weapon, but it shoots little arrows. I'm not entirely sure. Let's wait for that. Now, the mage. They also mentioned the weapons for the mage, and they look really cool. The weapon for the mage, if I am not mistaken by their names, will be the ice staff, which is the weapon of Eevee, which we've had before in the game. They didn't say that this was the weapon coming back, but we had on the data mined information that the ice staff was coming back to the game. Now, they mentioned it was the ice staff, then they also mentioned the earth staff, and then they mentioned the lightning staff. Now, but the reason why I'm saying this is because the second weapon, the earth staff, I believe to be the normal stone spear that we have. And it's not named staff, it's the stone spear. So either they just talk too much, or it's actually going to be reworked, and maybe it's not even going to be stone, because the elements usually are ice, yes, frost, fire, and lightning. So what if they actually change the stone spear to be a fire weapon, and instead of shooting little rocks, maybe they're still going to be like projectiles like the rocks, but they're going to be on flames and going to deal fire damage. That would be interesting to see. That would be awesome.
Enemy spotted.
And then the last one, which is the lightning staff, I believe to be the weapon of Grok. The reason why is it makes sense. It's a weapon that could be in game, and at close range you could deal the damage as you're doing with Grok. And since it doesn't require aiming, maybe his right click would be the little lightning bolt or little lightning ball of energy that can be bouncing through enemies and slowing them. It's not impossible, and it's a weapon that can be built into Royale. So that could happen really easily. So I believe those are going to be the weapons for that. They said that they're going to be leaving the magic chest as well for now, or everywhere, because they did that on purpose because of the lack of loot. On the forges, since now we have specific weapons and stuff for the classes, it would be completely hard. How would you get, for example, these weapons, right? If they were random. So what they said was, on the forges, you're going to be able to construct or build the things that are only related to your class. So they kind of did this on purpose. And as I mentioned before, you're going to have specific things for your classes, but you're going to be able to use anything from other classes. So for example, if I create the lightning staff, for me, it's going to be doing more damage, or it's going to have a passive ability. Doesn't really matter. But an assassin can still grab that weapon and use it, which is awesome, and it's actually giving sort of what people wanted, and at the same time is still keeping the classes that so many people complained that they were gone. I'm gonna be really honest, I've been here since closed alpha, and we didn't have any classes back then, and the game was really, really fun. Ever since the classes got in, the game started to be a little bit closed on the options that you had. And if you, for example, were a mage versus 4 engineers, or just a hunter versus 4 engineers, you'd pretty much be screwed. There was nothing there to do. You couldn't do anything. You'd be dead. Gladly they took away the engineer because I believe they thought that the ability itself was kind of stupid. It was hard to balance. The more they messed around with it, it was just giving too much headaches to everybody, so they took it away. I'm glad about that. And the pip launcher, as I mentioned before, is now going to be a weapon for everybody to use. So they also mentioned, now that I'm talking on the pip launcher, they also mentioned that they're going to be locking certain rarities for certain weapons, pretty much like we have it on Fortnite. It's not a bad example. On Fortnite, you have certain weapons that only exist on, for example, a legendary and epic rarity, and the same will be here. We already have some weapons like that. They already did that for the pip launcher, if I'm not mistaken, because I cannot find any pip launcher below epic rarity. And I actually believe that's actually good, because the pip launcher, whether you want it or not, is really, really strong. And whether it's epic, legendary, rare, or common, if you would find that in the real world in just like less than 2 minutes in the beginning of the game, you'd be incredibly strong. So they removed the commons and the rares, which I believe it's the best for everybody, because it will be harder to get this weapon since there's less rarities of this weapon itself. There's more rarities of there's more weapons of common rarity and rare rarity, making it harder, because what I'm trying to say here is that these rarities have a lot bigger chance to be caught in the chests. And having those weapons with the common rarity and taking it away from the pip launcher, you have less chance to get the pip launcher. And I believe that's for the best. We still got it in game, but it's not as OP as before. They also mentioned certain weapons like the axe, maybe they will be having that same system, which is awesome. I believe that they shouldn't make the axes available at lower rarities. Epic and legendary sound really cool to me. And it's pretty much most of it. There's also a couple of things that I already did on my about previous videos of Datamind, where I was talking about certain things that were found, certain skins and so on. And one of the skins was the mount of the werewolf, or not the werewolf, the wolf, the pirate wolf. And there's too many skins of going around the theme of pirates. I wouldn't be surprised if the Battle Pass 2 coming out really soon would actually be the, the pirate theme. It would. They actually even have some sort of like a sentence saying by them that, as they mentioned, I'm just gonna quote what they said: "The dinosaurs may be extinct, but the pirates era is coming." So it's not this exact same sentence, but it's the same concept, and as such, pirates could be coming on Battle Pass 2. So that's going to be awesome as well. So that's pretty much it for everything. There's only one last thing that I want to mention before we go. When the patch hits, I'm probably going to be streaming it. And they also mentioned one thing. They want to try to work with crossplay. It's not 100% sure yet because we don't even have available the PS4 and Xbox version yet. It's still a locked beta or alpha, whatever you want to call it. And as such, we're going to have to wait for at least to release first. And after we get the core basic mechanics of the game fixed and everything at its normal status, then we're probably going to be going through that, you know, through that objective of trying to bring the crossplay. I gotta be honest, I would be loving the crossplay to have it here as well, just like we have it in Fortnite. And the same would be happening to Paladins as well. I would love this to happen over all of the games from Hi-Res, including even Smite. But it's still something really recent. The only crossplay that we have as for now is Xbox and Switch. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit. Soon enough, they already mentioned that it's possible to actually run Royale coming to Switch. So we just have to wait a little bit until they actually have everything fixed. So that will be it for the video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is all the information I have for you guys now. Some of the things that I mentioned, I probably put some pictures on the screen so you guys can understand sort of what I'm talking about. Others I didn't because I didn't have, you know, anything that I could show you to, like the short bow or anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So tune in on the next streams of Royale to check out some new information or just take your questions out there, and I can try to answer some of them. Thank you all for watching. That'll be it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, guys. Have a wonderful time.